Welcome to Dark Horizon Creations. I'm Mike. This time we're taking a look at the G.I. Joe Classified series, Cobra, Televiper, and Flight Pod. Now, if you hadn't already, please follow, like, and subscribe to my social media accounts on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Don't forget to hit that bell icon so you get a notification of when I post new content. Alright, so today we're taking a look at the Target exclusive Python Patrol Edition, Televiper, and Flight Pod. This is a really cool vehicle that has its origins in the 1980s G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero cartoon and comic series. The Flight Pod is operated by a single pilot. It has vertical takeoff and landing capability, as well as forward flight at a limited altitude. It's powered by two maneuvering jets on the back of the vehicle. It's armed with a forward-mounted cannon, as well as a pair of side-mounted air-to-surface missiles. This is the type of vehicle that Cobra would utilize in an urban environment. The Flight Pod would provide aerial overwatch for Cobra infantry and his tanks on the ground, as well as advanced reconnaissance and strike capability. Due to its small size, it has the ability to maneuver in confined spaces where other aircraft could not, which makes it perfect for maneuvering in and around buildings and other structures. In the cartoon series, Cobra would often invade a town with semi-trucks, and the top and side panels would fold down. 3 or 4 flight pods would lift off the bed of the trailer and attack their target. So, taking a look at the packaging, you've got your G.I. Joe Classified Series banner down at the bottom, Cobra logo below that. Upper left center, you've got the figure and vehicle in an action sequence, Python Patrol emblem in the lower left. Over to the right, you've got some artwork of the Televiper. In the upper right corner, you can see the accessories which are included in the packaging. On the left side of the box, you've got that same artwork of the Televiper. The right side, you've got the QR code as well as the skill symbols for the Televiper. On the back of the packaging, you've got your obligatory product shots. Over on the left, you see the Televiper. Next to him is a scale denoting the height of the figure at 6.3 inches. See all the accessories in the center. Then the Flight Pod over on the right, and the scale shows that it is 5.8 inches in height. Alright, so here we have the Cobra, Televiper, and Flight Pod outside of the packaging, fully assembled. Now to begin, I want to talk about the Televiper. This is a really neat figure. I do like the overall design. I like the design of the body armor. I don't care for the combat pants with the gray and white intersecting stripes. I plan to repaint those. You can see that he has on black combat boots with gray armor across the lower calf and the instep. He's got on a yellow combat shirt with a black undershirt. He's got black hard knuckle gloves with gray pads on them. He's got on a Suunto watch here. You can see his Python Patrol symbol up there. Gray body armor, gray and red gun belt. On this wrist, he's got this gauntlet mounted computer and communications device, and this allows him to remotely control the Flight Pod if you don't know what that is. Yellow and gray helmet with the red visor. So a really cool looking figure. As far as articulation, the head and neck are on separate ball joints to provide a full range of motion. Forward and lateral movement at the shoulder. You've got bicep rotation, butterfly joint, upper arm rotation, double jointed elbow, wrist rotation, and wrist pivot. The upper torso is on a hinge, and the lower torso is on a ball joint to provide a full range of motion. Forward and lateral movement to thigh, drop down thigh joint, thigh rotation, double jointed knee. You've got lower leg rotation, foot wheel pivot, and roll. So a full range of motion on this action figure. All right, so let's talk about accessories for the Televiper. First and foremost, you have his iconic backpack and some sort of gun with this line connected to it. I don't know what this is. I don't plan to use this at all. I plan to kit him out with some traditional weapons. But if you so choose to use it, the backpack will plug into the port on his back. And if we can get his hand to open up, or he can grip this thing, reconnect this line. There he is with whatever that is really supposed to be. Also included are 2 additional interchangeable head sculpts. You got a different ethnicity here. And then you've got this really cool flight helmet that has the visor down where he can control the flight pod and the flying mine remotely. I think that's really neat. Alright, so let's talk about the main feature of this playset, and that is the flight pod, or trouble bubble as it is commonly called. And to begin, let's start up front. We'll talk about the forward mounted cannon. And this ship's in its own little piece of cardboard. You can see there's no warping on it whatsoever. Very solid piece of plastic, a lot of intricate detail in the cannon. You see it has what looks like some coolant lines going down the side. It's got a cooling vent on both sides here. And it just plugs into this ball joint on the base of the control yoke here, and it will pivot independently of the control yoke. You can angle it down and up. And in flight mode, it's usually angled up like this. The control yoke will pivot forward and back, and it will turn left and right. You can see it's got some decals on here like the eyes of a snake. If you turn it this way, you can see it's got this targeting reticle here on it. Open it up, you can see the seat on the inside with a crash harness. There's a lot of nice molded detail on the inside of the flight pod, some instrumentation in there. You got a maneuvering jet down here. You've got the side mounted air-to-surface missiles on this side. Canopy of the flight pod will open, as you can see there. And we'll go ahead and pop the harness open and see if we can get the Televiper on the inside of it. And slide his hands over the control yoke there. And then close the canopy. One side is secure and the other one isn't. And I don't know why. If you're curious, his helmet is not touching the inside of the canopy, but it is mounted in front of his helmet so that he can see the heads-up display there. You've got your landing skids down here, maneuvering thrusters in the back, and they have these stabilizers that are connected so that it can control the direction of the thrust. And these don't pivot or move. They're just plugged into a port on the back. You can see on that side the canopy's all the way down and secure. This side it's not, and I don't know why. But he's still in the flight pod. So it's a really cool vehicle and playset. I do like this, and you know, you could buy multiple of these sets and use them for dios and toy photography. Also included is the mine, and you can see it's got a little caution panel, and you can pop that off and see the internal mechanisms, I guess the timer and detonator for it. Overall, this is an awesome toy. Now, I chose to buy the Target exclusive Python Patrol Edition. There's also the standard edition in the original color scheme that's available through Hasbro's website. If you're a collector of the Classified series, this thing is a must-have. So there you have the G.I. Joe Classified series, Python Patrol, Televiper, and Flight Pod by Hasbro.